Max Anders writes, "Don't go looking for treasure you already have. Everything you need from God you have in Christ." So, what is the secret to living the Christian life? Christianity is not simply living out a creed, but it is living in a person. You are united with Christ by faith, and you receive the strength to live the Christian life every day through your relationship with Him. Your Christian life began with Christ and it must continue with Christ. Does your life feel hollow, empty, unfulfilled? If so, it's because you're being deceived by an empty philosophy that depends on human tradition and the basic principles of this world. You're living your life according to something other than Christ. The Christian life is marked by faith in Christ, freedom in Christ, and fullness in Christ. Anything less is not authentic Christianity. What's the secret to living the Christian life is living in Christ. That's the heart of Christianity, and that's the heart of this letter to the Colossians. Before we came to Christ, we had three major problems that kept us from God: our sinful nature, the law, and Satan. Our sinful nature made us desire sin and choose sin over God. The law showed us our sin and brought us into condemnation. And Satan was a tempter and accuser, both tempting us to sin and then accusing us before God. When we gave into temptation to sin, we were under the power of sinful nature, the power of the law, and power of Satan, and we needed deliverance. The greater power of the cross is the one that freed us from sin, from the law and Satan. So first let's talk about the power of the cross to free us from sin. Paul uses two religious symbols to teach us this truth, those of circumcision and baptism. So let's look at the symbol of circumcision. Colossians 2 verse 11 reads, "In him you were all circumcised in putting off the sinful nature, not with the circumcision done by the hands of men, but with the circumcision done by Christ." In him refers to Christ. What does it mean that we are circumcised in Christ? Circumcision was a sign of the covenant for the Jews, but the Colossian church was a mixture of Jews and Gentiles, which means a lot of them were not circumcised. In fact, a big part of Paul's ministry was teaching that Gentiles who came to Christ did not need to be circumcised first, that faith in Christ was all that was needed. So, circumcision in verse 11, Paul is speaking about a spiritual circumcision, not a physical circumcision. Physical circumcision was only a symbol pointing to the deeper reality of a commitment to God. And so, what is spiritual circumcision? Spiritual circumcision means that through the power of the cross, your sinful nature has been cut off and you no longer have to sin. You have been given a new spiritual nature that seeks after God and desires true righteousness and holiness. Are you truly enjoying this freedom paid on the cross for you? Be blessed.